The galaxy had seen atrocities before, but never with such spectacle. The transmission came without warning, overriding every human channel, filling screens across Earth, Mars, and the orbital colonies. A dark hull of steel, lit by cruel crimson lights, revealed row after row of prisoners, humans shackled, gaunt from months of starvation. Their hollow eyes stared at the cameras, millions packed into tiered cages that stretched upward into shadow. A metallic voice boomed through translation filters. Witness the fate of Earth's defiance. Then came the sound, thousands of synchronized doors slamming shut, locks clicking like the tolling of a funeral bell. And then fire. Gas jets hissed. Explosions rippled. Screams burst through the speakers, raw, deafening, too human to ignore. 9 million prisoners of war, soldiers, medics, engineers, even children caught in captured transports, perished on a live galactic broadcast. Admiral Elena Drake sat frozen in the Terran Directorate command chamber. Her brother's face appeared for a fraction of a second in the chaos, a defiant gaze before flames consumed him. She inhaled sharply, fingers digging into the chair's armrest until blood welled beneath her nails. No sound left her lips. Silence fell across the chamber when the feed ended. The Empire's insignia, a silver serpent coiled around a broken star, lingered for a moment before fading to black. The first voice to break the silence came from Minister Harrow, a stooped man with thinning hair and trembling hands. If we strike now, they will erase us entirely. We must. Enough. Elena cut in, her voice cold but steady. They already chose extermination. You saw it. Every citizen did. 9 million lives. That is not war. That is genocide. Councillor Deneth leaned forward, spectacles sliding down his nose. Genocide, yes. But retaliation risks the survival of billions more. Our fleets cannot match the Empire's numbers. Elena stood, her uniform crisp, eyes burning like coals. Survival means nothing if we crawl to them begging for scraps. They don't want peace. They want us broken, erased from history. She paused, letting the words settle. Surrender is extinction with ceremony. Resistance is survival with scars. Choose. The chamber erupted in overlapping arguments. One delegate shouted about diplomacy, another demanded immediate mobilization. Voices clashed, but beneath the chaos was fear, palpable, suffocating fear. President Kalin, leader of the Directorate, raised her hand. Slowly, the shouting faded. Her voice was calm, but her eyes betrayed sorrow. Admiral Drake. You've served humanity for 3 decades. If we fight, can we win? Elena hesitated. Her mind raced through numbers, fleet strengths, the Empire's overwhelming armadas. Logic whispered no. But logic had no place in this moment. We can make them bleed, she said. We can make the galaxy see that humanity does not vanish quietly. We may not match their power, but we will outlast their pride. The president's jaw tightened. And the cost? Everything, Elena admitted. For a moment, no one spoke. The chamber's glass walls reflected their faces, leaders burdened with grief, shadows of humanity's fate etched into tired expressions. Councillor Mirajele, who had remained silent until then, finally spoke. Her voice was soft but sharp. My daughter was on the Helios transport. She died in that fire. She turned toward the president. If we do nothing, their deaths mean nothing. If we fight, at least the galaxy will remember. That sentence cut through hesitation like a blade. President Kalin straightened, resolution hardening in her tone. Then let history record this day. The Terran Directorate declares the Empire guilty of genocide. She looked around the table. All in favor of war? Hands rose. One by one. Not unanimous, but enough. Elena closed her eyes. The decision was inevitable, but hearing it spoken aloud set fire to her veins. As the session adjourned, Elena lingered. Outside the chamber, aides and officers rushed, phones lit with calls from across the colonies. The news had already spread. Crowds gathered in streets, some screaming in fury, others collapsing in grief. She walked to the viewport at the far end of the hall. Earth turned silently below, blue oceans glinting like jewels. She thought of her brother, his laugh, the way he had insisted she chase command when she doubted herself. His defiance in those final moments was carved into her memory. A junior officer approached, hesitant. "Admiral, your orders?" Elena didn't turn. "Mobilize the Third Fleet. Recall every ship, every reserve. Issue a single message to the people." The officer waited, stylus ready. Elena's voice was steel. "For the 9 million, we rise." He nodded, understanding the weight, and hurried away. Her comms chimed, an encrypted channel. She answered. President Kalen's face appeared, pale but resolute. "You'll lead the counteroffensive. But know this, if Earth falls, humanity dies. There will be no retreat, no second chance." "I understand," Elena said. "Then God help us all." The line cut. Elena finally allowed herself a breath, but it shuddered as it left her chest. She clenched her fists, nails biting skin, and whispered to the silent stars. "Kaler, I will see you burn." Across the colonies, humanity prepared. Factories shifted to war production, news anchors repeated the declaration, families clutched one another with fear and determination. On every street corner, voices rose with a single phrase, "For the 9 million." The galaxy had watched humans die. Now, it would watch them rise. Factories thundered day and night, their furnaces pouring molten steel into frames that would soon become warships. Civilian liners were stripped of luxuries and rebuilt with armor plating. Orbital stations, once dedicated to commerce, became launch sites for missile arrays. Across Earth and its colonies, grief was hammering itself into weapons. Admiral Elena Drake stood on the command bridge of the Resolute, her flagship. The vessel's deck hummed with new upgrades, experimental rail batteries, drone launch tubes, reinforced shields. None of it erased the disparity. The Empire's fleets still dwarfed them in size and technology. But humanity had something rarer, fury sharpened into purpose. "Fleet status?" Elena asked. Commander Havelock, her second-in-command, flicked data onto the holographic display. "Third Fleet at 60% readiness. Reinforcements from Luna and Titan arriving within the week. Civilian volunteers continue to flood in, too many for training capacity." "Too many?" Elena arched a brow. Havelock's lips tightened. "We have more bodies than ships. People are begging to serve, Admiral. Even families of the executed. They'll take a rifle, a shuttle, anything." Elena's chest constricted, but she didn't let it show. "Find room. No one is turned away. If they can't fight in space, they'll build or defend planetside. Every hand counts." He nodded and hurried off. Messages streamed across her console, citizens recording vows of vengeance, engineers submitting desperate designs, children drawing crude images of starships with the words "For the 9 million" scrawled beneath. Humanity had found a rallying cry. Elena studied the latest tactical report. Intelligence suggested the Empire would deploy overwhelming force against Sol within months. Conventional defense meant annihilation. But humanity had never fought conventionally. "Bring in the engineers," Elena ordered. Moments later, 3 specialists entered the bridge, exhausted, uniforms stained with oil and graphite. Chief Engineer Rallis spoke first, voice hoarse. "Admiral, we've developed gravity mines, portable singularity generators. Short lifespan, unstable, but if placed in dense clusters they can collapse entire enemy formations." Elena examined the schematics, frowning. "Collateral?" "Severe," Rallis admitted. "Any ship caught too close, ours included, is shredded." "Then precision is everything," Elena replied. "Deploy them on hidden approach vectors. The Empire thinks in straight lines. We'll bend the battlefield until it breaks them." The second engineer presented stealth drones, built from salvaged components. "They're fragile, but they can carry warheads into shield gaps. Suicide machines. Cheap, fast." "Good," Elena said. "The Empire wastes lives as spectacle. We'll spend machines instead." The third engineer displayed upgraded rail slugs, rods of tungsten accelerated to a fraction of light speed. They'll crack Imperial armor like glass. Elena allowed herself a rare smile. Perfect. Assemble production lines. We fight with brains, not just steel. Days bled into weeks. Training fields filled with recruits, orbital simulators ran non-stop. Propaganda broadcasts showed footage of captured convoy strikes, small, surgical victories proving humanity was already striking back. One such victory unfolded on Elena's display as a live feed, a Terran strike group ambushing an Imperial supply convoy near the Kuiper Belt. Outnumbered 3-1, the humans deployed drones as decoys. When the Imperials turned to fire, hidden rail platforms tore through their flanks. Explosions lit the void, Imperial wreckage scattering like ash. The strike commander's final transmission rang across Terran frequencies. For the 9 million. Convoy destroyed. Cheers erupted in cities across Earth. Children repeated the phrase in playgrounds, soldiers carved it into armor. Humanity's grief had hardened into identity. Yet Elena knew the danger. For every convoy destroyed, the Empire would answer with escalation. The real test was still ahead. A week later, an unexpected transmission cut into Directorate channels. The towering figure of Archduke Kaler filled every screen. His reptilian features curled into disdain, eyes glowing like coals. Humans, he hissed, you mistake suffering for strength. You think the galaxy respects your howls? You are vermin gnawing at the walls of empires. Vermin can be burned, crushed, forgotten. The message ended with footage of Imperial warships assembling, rows upon rows of colossal dreadnoughts, more vessels than humanity had ever fielded in its history. On the Resolute, the crew stared at the display in silence. Fear crept in, heavy and unspoken. Elena keyed the comms, her voice reaching across every human frequency. They call us vermin. They believe we scatter when fire comes. Let the galaxy remember this instead. We endure, we strike, and we rise. For every life they took, we will take tenfold. We will never forgive. We will never stop. Her words spread faster than Kayla's threat, replayed in news cycles, whispered in barracks, written on banners. Humanity had found not only a commander, but a voice. Late that night, Elena sat alone in her quarters, staring at a worn photo of her brother. His smile seemed almost alive in the dim light. You'd mock me for speeches, she whispered. But you'd fight. I'll fight for both of us. Her comms pinged again, this time from President Kalin. The leader's face was lined with exhaustion. Elena, the president said quietly, our scouts report a massive Imperial fleet. Twice the size of all Terran forces combined. Their course is set for Sol. They mean to end us in one blow. Elena closed her eyes for a moment, then straightened. Then we prepare the battlefield. Let them think Earth is weak. Let them come expecting slaughter. They'll find something else waiting. Kalin studied her face, then gave a single nod. The Directorate places humanity's survival in your hands. May you make them bleed. When the line ended, Elena stood by the viewport. Beyond the black canvas of space, stars glimmered like distant witnesses. Soon those stars would see fire. She whispered, steady and low. They think this is the end. Let them come. The Imperial Armada emerged from hyperspace like a black tide blotting out the stars. Hundreds of dreadnoughts glowed with shield auras, their hulls bristling with weapons capable of scouring entire continents. At the front flew Kayla's flagship, a vessel larger than any mountain on Earth, its prow carved into the serpent emblem of the Empire. On Earth, cities fell silent. Billions watched the incoming storm from screens, knowing this was no skirmish but the moment that would decide their future. On the bridge of the Resolute, Admiral Elena Drake stood rigid, eyes locked on the tactical display. Her crew waited, tense but unwavering. Enemy fleet mass confirmed. Commander Havelock reported. 200 capital ships, countless escorts. They're forming assault lines. Elena's voice carried no tremor. Signal the fleet. Phase 1 begins. In the outer orbit, disguised freighters revealed their true nature. Cargo hulls split open, releasing swarms of stealth drones. They darted forward like silver hornets, silent and near invisible. Imperial ships detected them too late. Explosions tore through escorts as drones plunged into engines and reactor cores. First wave successful, an officer called. But the Empire pressed forward. Massive beams lanced out, erasing swathes of drones and a dozen Terran frigates. The shockwave rattled the Resolute. They're advancing faster than predicted, Havelock warned. Good, Elena replied. Drive them deeper. Hidden in the asteroid belt, gravity mines ignited. Spheres of collapsed space ripped open, dragging Imperial cruisers into deadly spirals. Metal shrieked as colossal vessels twisted apart, their fragments colliding with allies. Chaos rippled through the Empire's formation. Kaler's command vessel steadied, broadcasting his voice across channels. Pathetic tricks! You think debris and shadows can save you? I will burn your cradle world until its oceans boil. Elena cut into the channel, her tone razor-sharp. Then remember this, Kaler, the cradle has teeth. Her words echoed across Terran frequencies, hardening the will of every soldier listening. The battle raged. Human ships darted like knives, striking weak points, then retreating behind planetary defenses. Rail cannons hidden on the moon fired slugs the size of skyscrapers, piercing Imperial armor. Explosions flared across the void, brilliant as dying stars. Yet the cost was brutal. For every Imperial giant that fell, 3 Terran vessels were lost. Elena clenched her fists as casualty reports mounted. Admiral, we're bleeding too fast, Havelock muttered. Elena's jaw tightened. Then it's time. Phase 3. Fire the Earth batteries. Deep beneath Earth's crust, colossal launch chambers opened. For decades they had been hidden projects, dismissed as rumors by foreign powers. Now they revealed their purpose. Massive electromagnetic rails, stretching miles underground, launched tungsten rods upward. They punched through atmosphere at hypersonic speed, striking Imperial dreadnoughts with unimaginable force. The first impact shattered a flagship in half. The second tore through 3 cruisers in a single line. Panic spread among the Empire's ranks. Kaler's furious roar filled the comms. Impossible! You should not have such weapons! Elena answered, cold and steady. You never understood us. You thought fear would break us. But we are not afraid. We are enraged. The tide shifted. Imperial formations faltered as more ships fell to hidden batteries and precision strikes. Yet Kaler's command vessel pushed forward, shields glowing, weapons pounding at Terran lines. The Resolute shook under a direct hit, alarms screaming. Shields collapsing! Havelock shouted. Bring us forward, Elena ordered. The crew stared, stunned. Admiral, that's suicide! Her voice cut through hesitation. If we take Kaler, the fleet breaks. Forward! The Resolute surged ahead, weaving through debris and fire. Escorting Terran ships formed a spearhead, sacrificing themselves to carve a path. One by one they fell, but each death carried the Resolute closer. Inside the Imperial flagship, Kaler appeared on the comms once more, sneering. You bring a single vessel against me? Arrogance suits you, human. Elena leaned toward the display, eyes burning. Not arrogance. Justice. The Resolute's rail cannons fired in unison. Slugs hammered into the serpent-emblazoned hull, straining Kaler's shields until cracks formed. Concentrate fire! Elena roared. Missiles, beams, and kinetic rounds converged. The flagship's shield collapsed in a blaze of sparks. Kaler snarled, rising from his throne. Even broken, I will crush you! Elena's eyes narrowed. Not today! The Resolute plunged forward on ramming course. Crew braced as the prow slammed into the Imperial flagship, tearing into its belly. Hull against hull, metal shrieked like tortured steel. Fires erupted. Boarding tubes locked! Havelock yelled. Terran Marines stormed across. Gunfire echoed through alien corridors, humans fighting with a desperation born of vengeance. Elena herself entered the breach, sidearm drawn. She moved with calm precision, her officers flanking her. Every corner burned with combat, every step a reminder of what had been stolen. At last, she entered the throne chamber. Kalis stood at the center, towering, blade of energy crackling in his grip. So the rat crawls to face the serpent. He spat. Elena raised her weapon. For the 9,000,000! They clashed. Her shots searing against his blade's arc sparks lit the chamber. Kayla's strike shook the ground, but Elena ducked and fired again, rounds punching into his armor. At last one shot pierced true. The Archduke staggered, disbelief twisting his face as he fell. His final roar cut across comms, then silence. Explosions consumed the Imperial flagship. The Resolute tore free moments before the vessel erupted, fire swallowing it whole. Across the battlefield, Imperial ships wavered, leaderless. Terran forces surged, striking with renewed fury. Within hours, the Armada lay in ruins. Debris drifted in orbit, a graveyard of Imperial arrogance. On Earth, cheers erupted. Streets filled with voices chanting the words carved into every heart, for the 9,000,000. Back on the bridge, Elena removed her helmet, sweat streaking her brow. She gazed at the wreckage, voice quiet but unwavering. "We are not broken. We will never be broken." Havelock approached, his uniform scorched. "Admiral, reports confirm it. The Empire's fleet has withdrawn. Seoul is secure." Elena allowed herself one long breath. Secure for now. But this is only the beginning. She turned toward the stars. Let them remember this day. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity rises. The crew saluted in silence, the weight of history heavy on their shoulders. Beyond, the galaxy watched, realizing that Earth, once dismissed as a fragile world, had declared itself with fire and steel. Humanity was no longer prey. They had become a storm.